Hey everybody, and good morning from Northern Illinois. As you can see, the snow has disappeared. I guess that's April for you, huh? So thanks for joining me. We do these every morning, Monday through Friday at 8:15 Central Standard Time. And I like to talk, hey Doug, I like to talk about body-mind sorts of things. Hi Simone. I'm a body-mind expert, a shiatsu massage therapist, and I've spent at least, if not longer, the last 15 years trying to figure out, hey, Sherry, great to see you, trying to figure out how to stay level and stable when, the world is going on around you. Hey, Lillian. So one of the topics that's been coming up in my coaching program is that I've been leading, as well as general coming up, is social anxiety. And so I thought today would be a good topic to talk about social anxiety. So, okay, a little bit of backstory on me. I had a pretty rough upbringing, and I had a sensitive nervous system, which meant that I got very socially anxious. I was not only traumatized, but then I was overstimulated by things, and I couldn't handle the real world. So I spent a lot of time hiding. And even though I did theater and I did music and I was really good at that, I was able to kind of bluff my way through. I was able to put on that shield and be really strong and perform, but all the rest of the time I needed to be by myself. I spent a lot of time hiding in bathrooms, a lot of times, in hallways, just to avoid people. Hey, Amanda, great to see you. So the story I'm going to give you is about my holidays. It started out with I would host things like Easter or Christmas at my house, and there was still a lot of tension with my family, so there was always this anxiety that would come up. And I would struggle. I would be so stressed out before everybody would show up. I'd be stressed out the entire time. I'd be going to the bathroom every 10, 15 minutes, it seemed like, texting people to try to keep me calm and dial down. My family was always like, "Where'd Rita go?" And and then everybody would leave and it would just still be awkward. They never worked out well. That was social anxiety mainly in my, hey Barbara, in my adult life. But it would still happen out in crowds. I would avoid parties. I would avoid all of those things. And hey William, good to see you. So I really had to work through the social anxiety piece, and I worked very hard. And now I get together with my family. I'll go to parties. I get together with people. I'm able to be out in a crowd. And this is how I did it. There's actually three main steps that help you really deal with the overwhelm and the crawling skin and the fast beating heart and the flushed face and the wanting to run like a rabbit or hide like a turtle. Those are my two favorites. Really, there's three ways to kind of combat that, let's say. Step number one is you have to prepare for it. When you go into socially anxious experiences or situations where there are a lot of people or something that will trigger you, hey, Nicola, you have to prepare for it. You have to realize that your nervous system is going to be overstimulated and overwhelmed. And so you start looking at things, not at going round and round in your mind about, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? How am I going to handle this? Being in fight or flight. Instead saying, I'm going to, this social situation. I need to stay level. And what can I do ahead of time? Hey, Daniel, that will help me stay level through it. That will help dial down my nervous system. A lot of people don't think about the nervous system and how we have a lot of power over it. Hey, Ro. We've got a ton of power over how we feel. And when you start realizing you can control, hey Tara, how you feel, then it starts making things easier. So some preemptive things you can do before a social situation. One is drink chamomile tea or some other sort of relaxing tea, sleepy time, bedtime, whatever it may be. Most people think that stuff is just going, to have right before bed. But the thing is these are really great natural sedatives. And what they do is if you're jacked up because you're socially anxious, it helps take the edge off. Thanks, Tara. I'm glad you like this topic. So things like chamomile tea, sleepy time tea, bedtime tea, if you're drinking it let's say a few hours before you have to do something or when you start feeling that stress, it will help calm your nervous system down. It seriously will. The next thing that you want to do is take your magnesium. Hey, Barbara, you want to take your magnesium or take an Epsom salt bath. Magnesium helps with balancing your mood. Hey, Wendy, and calming down your system. So if you get some magnesium into your system, it will start to preemptively get you more balanced so that you'll be in a better place when you go to this social situation. Make sure you take your vitamin D or get outside for some sunshine beforehand. That will help dial down your nervous system. And do things which are purposefully calming for you. You know the things which calm you down. Do them. If you have to do something that's going to make you feel overstimulated because you're feeling anxious about everything that's coming at you, then you need to say, what can I do to dial down my nervous system way ahead of time and keep it dialed down so that this experience isn't so anxiety producing for me, okay? So that's step number one, preparing for it. Some people, they do all sorts of great mind tricks, but I've always found you can't stop your mind from obsessing through your mind. It's just virtually impossible. I think, who was it? Einstein said you can't solve the problem with the same thing that created it in the first place. And so your mind is not going to be able to calm down your mind. It just won't be able to. Hey, Stephanie, unless you're some guru master living in a cave. So instead, go through the body. Use physical things. Go for the walk. Listen to the music. Get your beta endorphins going. Do the breath exercises. Do something physical that will calm down your nervous system before you go. Okay, so now you're in the car. You're pulling up to the situation and to the social situation. And you're starting to feel overwhelmed. Maybe it's a grocery store. Maybe it's something fun that you wanted to do. Maybe it's just getting together with friends or, hosting something that you want to host. But either way, you're starting to feel overstimulated. So I want you to get out of your head and think about your body. Think that your body is getting overstimulated. And because it's overstimulated, it makes you feel like you're freaking out. And so the key is you need to dial it down. And it's some of the same sort of tools that you used ahead of time. Now, a lot of people, they use alcohol to help with social anxiety. But hey, Anne, but there's a lot of side effects to that. There's a lot of negative side effects to that. So instead of going the alcohol route, realize you can there's a lot of great herbs out there. There's a lot of great as I said, the magnesium, the vitamin D, there's valerian root, there's GABA, which is a neurotransmitter, there's chamomile tea, there's sleepy time tea. There's a lot of things that you can be ingesting while you're there to dial down your nervous system. The next thing you need to do while you're there is recognize that you're getting overstimulated. Hey, Lynn, great to see you. It's an overstimulation problem. And if you can dial down your stimulation, the things which are coming at you, then you'll start to level out. Some people do it by finding a corner and one person to talk to and letting it be at that. For me, I'll find some almost every single time. You will see me in the corner watching the world go by, being perfectly content. But that dials down my stimulation because then I'm not talking to people. I'm not having this person coming and that person coming and me having to juggle all of these conversations. I'm sitting back and just sort of observing and watching and seeing who is attracted to me. Seeing, the one person that's interested in coming to talk to me. I don't try to force myself to be the life of the party. Instead, I sit and wait, surrounded in some place that makes me feel comfortable and safe, and that dials down your nervous system. So do the same things for yourself and keep anchors with you that remind you of, your safety and that everything's okay. Or colors, beautiful fabrics that you can touch. Find the cat, find the dog. Find something to pet or touch, even if it's just your own clothing, because that sensation, that felt sensation on your palms, that's soothing, will dial your whole nervous system down. In your ears, your face, your head, your feet, and your hands, we have all of these nerve endings. Hey, Melba. And if you calm the end of your nerve endings, it calms the entire nerve. So when you do something with your hands, rubbing them together, petting a dog or a cat, oops, sorry about that, didn't mean for that to happen. Petting a dog, I got excited, I guess. Petting a dog or a cat, petting yourself, your own skin or your own clothing that you're wearing will help dial down your nervous system too. So use something like that. Use water, cold water or warm water, tea or ice water, and both of those will help give you a different felt sense. I find that warm tea, and there's a whole ritual around it in Asian culture about how tea is something that really calms you down. The warmth in the palm of your hands, the smell of the herbs, especially if you've got an herbal tea going, the smell of the herbs, it's that aromatherapy that you have going on. Oh, speaking of, you can always keep essential oils with you. If you've got a necklace that does essential oils, make sure you wear that the day that you have to go. Some scent that gives you pleasure and helps keep you dialed down. So if you make sure that you honor and respect the fact that you're overstimulated, you will be able to stay in control of it. So if you need to get up and go for a walk and isolate every 15 minutes, that's okay. Honor that. If you've got an overly sensitive nervous system, and you probably do if you have social anxiety, then recognize you need to dial down the stimulation on a regular basis. You know what? I love to go to Arlington Park, which is a local racetrack. And I get laughed at a lot because our whole party will sit there in the box, laughing and joking and having a good time. And they're perfectly happy with that, which is good. But what I have to do is I can't have that much stimulation. So for every race, I go down to the paddock, I sit there and I look at the horses, I watch them walk, and, I figure out how I want to bet on the race. But it's that realization that I have got to get away from everybody. I have got to reconnect with nature. I have to go back outside. I have to look at the horses. I have to do things along those lines. I honor that. I recognize that's what I have to do. And people have just come to accept that if we're going to the races, that every race I'm going to go down to the paddock. I'm going to look at how everybody's walking. And sometimes people join me, which is fun, and sometimes they don't. But it gives me that break. It gives me that break from being overly stimulated, from being surrounded by all of these people and all of their energy coming at me. Okay, so build in those breaks for yourself. And if you come up with something fun, like, I'm going out to look at the flowers in your yard, or I'm going to look at your architecture, or I'm going to look at the things in your home that really catch my eye and matter to me, and focus on that a little bit. One, people will be thrilled that you're interested in things that matter to them. And two, you've got a good excuse to kind of escape from everybody. So if you're there, make sure you've got enough things to keep yourself calm, and then give yourself permission to take the breaks that you need to dial your nervous system down. So the third step in dealing with social anxiety is we're looking long term. Part of social anxiety is we don't know how things are going to turn out. It's not just the pressure of the energy and the stimulation coming at us, but it's also this unknown. To go back to me, hosting holiday parties at my house, there was always the unknown. What's going to happen? How's my family going to respond? Is my dad going to be in a bad mood? Is he going to be in a good mood? How can I entertain everybody? What's everybody going to do? Is everything going to work out? And that unknown on a regular basis, hey, Lele, would make me feel really anxious and dial up my anxiety. And so what I started to do is I took back my control, and I started to do things to make sure the experience would be good for everybody. Instead of worrying whether somebody's going to be in a good mood or a bad mood, just say to myself, and I hate the word just, what can I do to make this person feel as comfortable as possible? And if I do that, then we have a positive experience with this social interaction. So I started to do that with my dad. He loves shrimp cocktail, and so I wanted him to feel calm and valued and honored. And so when he would come, I'd make sure now that he has shrimp cocktail. And because of that, and I place it in front of him and, hey, here's your plate, Dad. I'm taking back control of the situation to make sure it's not going to be an unknown, to not worry about how everybody's going to behave or who's going to react to who. I look forward and prepare things so that I know I have a good idea how it's going to turn out. When you set yourself up for success like that, to know that, okay, this will probably be a successful thing, and this is how I'm going to handle this situation. Let's say my dad, this is how I'm going to handle that situation. Let's say my sister being late. This is how I'm going to handle it. It takes back my power. It gives me a sense of calm and stability, and then social experiences become less stressful. The more positive experiences you have in situations that cause you anxiety, the less anxiety they will cause you in the future. So by me, for my holidays, making sure that I was doing things to keep people in a relatively happy, comfortable, good space, because I was proactively doing that so we would have a good experience. Now I can get together with my family just about every Sunday, and we have a good experience together because I know what to expect. Because I know what to expect, I don't have to be anxious about it. This is the same thing with parties or performances or any sort of social situation or grocery stores. Take back your power, give yourself a positive experience, and the more positive experiences you have, the less anxiety producing it will be. So if you're working with social anxiety, those 3 steps. 1, be proactive and prepare. Hey, Deborah, great to see you. Prepare ahead of time. 2, make sure you do what you need to do to dial down the overstimulation of whatever social situation that you're in. And then 3, create positive experiences for yourself in social situations so that you know what to expect. And so it's not so unknown and so unnerving for you. If you do those 3 things, your social anxiety will continue to dial down and dial down and dial down until it's manageable and it's not something that paralyzes you or really gets in the way of your life. Okay? So what I would like you to do today, here's your homework for social anxiety. Hey, Tracy, here's your homework for social anxiety. I want you to think of an upcoming event or place you need to go that you will normally feel anxious about. And I want you to do one of the 3 steps. Even if it's just in your mind, I want you to start thinking about it. Okay, I have to go to this party, or I have to go to the grocery store, or I have to go to this event. How can I proactively prepare for it? Maybe that's your focus at first, and come up with a game plan for that. Or maybe you'll say, how can I stay calm while I'm in the situation, and come up with a game plan for that. Or you'll say, how can I make sure that this is a positive experience for me so that I can start to rewire my nervous system so it doesn't get anxious in social situations? What's my game plan for that? So I want you to come up with one small game plan, either for before, during, or after your upcoming social event or when you're going to have to be around people. And I would love it if you would, hey, Ronnie, I would love it if you would share some of the things and insights and understandings that come up around this. Ways that you've dealt with social anxiety, ways that you have navigated these things, and what works for you. And maybe what step that you're working on, or even put down your game plan or your problem solving for it. I would love to hear it. So whether you see this in email, whether you see it on YouTube, whether you see it on Facebook, I would love to hear your comments and get your support, because the more we know we're not alone, the easier all of this gets, okay? So like it, love it, share it, comment on it, because we're in this together, okay? So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning, okay? Bye.